We return now to our top story. A federal judge blocked the Obama administration from carrying out the president's controversial executive order on immigration. For analysis on this news, we turn to Paul F. Millus as well as Elizabeth Plum. And Paul is an attorney. Elizabeth is the director of special projects. You have to tell me the name of the organization.
The New York Immigration Coalition.
Thank you very much, both of you, for being here. Welcome to Arise America. Paul, let me start with you. I want you to do just a bit of a didactic and explain exactly what this judgment means.
Well, what happened is 26 states went into federal court in Texas, and they asked for an injunction, temporary relief from the enforcement of the order established by DHS to allow essentially the legalization, to a certain extent, of 4 to 5 million people who are here unlawfully in this country. They obtained that injunction. So therefore, the judge said, government, you cannot enforce this law. You cannot go forward with this law until we either have a trial on the merits, a decision in some other way, or the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has determined that it should go forward. Now,
what is important to note is that this decision says nothing about the legality of his executive action. It really is about I don't know if you would call it minor, but a procedural issue here.
Well, it focuses on something called the Administrative Procedure Act, no question about it. But it's dealing with the likelihood of success on the merits. So it's saying, the court is saying, there is a likelihood that they would succeed. Irrespective of the fact that it's a small point or a large point, it still would impact the president's ability to do what he did.
Regardless, what's the significance of this, Elizabeth?
We feel that this really is a meritless political trick, and I think relying on this act, this small legalese point on it, is sort of part and parcel of that political trick. We are confident that the Fifth Circuit will overturn this, that the programs will move forward. So what we see is frankly, a lot of individuals' time being wasted and immigrants that are in a very vulnerable position having to wait longer to start really contributing to our economy as they would like.
I think that gives short shrift to a 150-page decision issued by a federal district court judge that analyzed the issues here and went down them point by point. Quite frankly, this is a very serious decision, irrespective of whether it deals with the Administrative Procedure Act or larger issues. It gave its views that the plaintiffs in this lawsuit can be successful, and therefore this should not go forward. The rule of law must apply, whether the rule is small, whether the rule is large. We are a country of laws, and it should apply irrespective.
And I understand that point, Paul, but to be fair about this, the debate really is about the legality, whether or not President Obama overreached with this executive action. And there is a line in that 150-page decision that says that this decision does not speak to the legality of the executive action. So let me ask this question. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you respond.
We both obviously saw the 150-page, and obviously looked at it too. I read as much as I could in the time that I had. The fact is, you're right, to a certain extent it does say that, but it does address whether or not the president has discretion, essentially discretion to say, I am not going to prosecute 4 to 5 million people. I am going to give them legal present status, which entitles them to certain relief under state and federal law. Quite frankly, it is dealing with that, and it will deal with that in the end. So it's not just going to be based on the APA at this point and in the future.
Well, and we do feel he has that discretion, and this is within his authority as president in the executive authority that he does have. The same way Congress has their own authorities and judicial judges have their own authorities, and we feel that this judge is actually doing what he's accusing the president of and abusing his authority for a political game and it is a long decision, but when you
Let me ask you this, Elizabeth. I'll start with you, and I know you're going to have a response to this, Paul, and that is, what's the likelihood of this being overturned? This particular judge has been critical of President Obama many times in the past, and there is a possibility that this ruling will be overturned in another court. What's your take?
We are extremely confident that it will be overturned. In whatever likelihood that it wouldn't be, we are even more confident that the Supreme Court, if it ultimately did arrive at that level, it would be overturned. So what we have to see is, even if this is a 150-page decision that is a good decision, it will be overturned. And so
you're practically shaking over there.
What Elizabeth is doing, and with respect, what she's doing is she's letting the policy position overwhelm the legal issues. And really, this is a legal issue. This is why we have 3 branches of government, so that the courts can make a determination based on the law. And that's what they're doing. And then they're going to move to the Fifth Circuit, and that's what they'll do there as well.
But isn't it true, Paul, particularly with this judgment, even the judge allowing these other states to move forward with their legal actions against this executive order, even isn't that judgment very narrow, and doesn't that say something about the executive action?
What it says is the judge is not overreaching, that he's not acting political, that he's acting within the bounds of the law, trying to make a determination that he believes fits the facts and law of the circumstance. Look, this is going to have to be flushed out someday, probably by the Supreme Court. That's the way our system works. And other district courts may rule differently.
To that point, you said this is going to be fleshed out. This is laying the groundwork, in your estimation, for what?
There's going to be a challenge based upon how much discretion does the president have under the law, as it pertains in this instance to immigration policy. And that will be challenged, and that will be determined by the Supreme Court. I pretty much bet on that.
And the short-term, long-term effects of this. Let's start with the short term.
Well, I do want to respond to one point there. When we talk about taking this on the merits of the policy, I think there is this element to the whole entire court case to begin with, the whole entire lawsuit. You have 26 states that have anti-immigrant governments that are moving this lawsuit forward. The short term is, we believe this will happen, so we're going to continue to prepare our communities. We're just going to say we've hit the pause button, but it's not the stop button. And in that meantime, we are stopping an incredible economic benefit for people that are working. We want to bring them out of the shadows, get them working on the books. And when you look at those numbers, we can reduce the deficit. We can bring in the first year, $2.9 billion in tax revenue, $21 billion in 5 years. This is smart policy that we're delaying. All
right, we're going to have to leave it right there. Sorry, Paul. Over there. One thing's for sure, and I bet you'll both agree on this, we'll be discussing this for much time to come. Paul, Millus, Elizabeth, Plum, thank you so much to both of you. Appreciate it.